whatever milestones that Black people make against hate, it ends up benefiting all the other people of color. I can't see what his end game is. The Republican Party is the party of racism, is the party of white supremacy, is the party of hate. This is wrong, and it needs to stop.
Everybody wants to go back and drag that piece of history up, but they don't want to go back and deal with what their ancestors did to the indigenous people and to Black people in this country. You got to go. And you got billionaires talking about going to space and Jeff Bezos. Go! Never come back. I hope you get lost. This man has lost his mind.
Boom! Come on, girlfriend. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. And I host the only online conversation in the world for dads and fathers that's sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. We're broadcasting live here on April 9th. And we usually have State of Things with Aisha and Jill. But unfortunately, Aisha had a tooth pulled today and she's in too much pain. But we said, you know what? We're going to have Jill come and join us. We're going to go chop it up for a bit. And two, if anyone has any questions or just any comments, just have like an open mic, so to speak. Open mic. Everyone just hang out. Whatever's on your, I was going to say mind. Some people that come in here, alleged mind. We're gonna chop it up tonight. So welcome my comrade in arms, and check out the wonderful blouse she's wearing. Is that not fine?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's very, very kind.
Very, very fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm pretty good. You know, just battling the heat here in sunny California.
How hot was it today?
Oh, well, today it was only 87 tops, but but it's been 100 the last few days, over 100, wow. Well over 100. So it's been a lot, you know, too much.
So I know that so people may have seen that if you're following me on Facebook or YouTube, I pushed back the date of the broadcast. So, but we do have people here. Green-eyed little baby is here. So, wow. Hey, thank you for coming in anyways. And if you have any questions or comments, this is sort of like an open night. We're just going to chop it up for a few minutes, depending on who hangs around. But got some very interesting news for Aisha and Jill.
What?
The Slap Heard Round the World episode is my #1 episode on YouTube.
No way. Really?
It is my, I mean, anything I've done on YouTube, it's gosh. Ranking #1.
That is wild. Well, you know, the audience and all of us, we really put our feet into that one, right? We were all like involved in trying to flesh that out, like,
and it's still going on.
Yeah,
like,
I think we all had so many different, like, what are we doing? What was this? And I loved the participation of everyone.
Hey, Tamara, how are you from Texas? And you know what? I just felt like I came from Texas because I'm a big fan of the show Top Chef, and this season is
yes, you are.
Yes, in Houston this season. And you know what was really cool? And again, not a regular conversation night. Aisha is not her, and I'll be 100% honest, folks. I've had a sinus infection battling for the last week and a half, so I sound nasally still. So I'm gonna finally succumb and stop being a male and get an appointment with my doctor so I can be a man.
Yes,
and get that done, because this is valuable to me. Like I need this.
Totally. I can't believe you dealt with it for a whole week. That's a lot.
Well, you know, it's crazy because it's actually the best when I'm sleeping and I have pillows and my back and head is elevated. That's when I'm at my best, but it goes on and off. And ironically, my dad has the flu right now. So,
my God.
So both of us were namesakes of each other. We're both going through the challenges at the same time. But yeah, that episode,
right?
It's just been like, it's #1. And I have a feeling it's going to be #1 for a while of all my YouTube videos.
Wow. You know, well, that's so nice. Thank you, everybody.
No, thank you. Thank both of you. And when we do our next I'll let people our next threesome. We'll because we were gonna. That was the first thing we're gonna chat about tonight about the 10-year ban. So I don't know if we want to go too deep into it or just lightly.
Right.
Anyone who's following me on YouTube, I'm actually going to put a poll up asking, do you think the 10-year, actually we'll ask people right now, anyone who's watching here, the 10-year ban on will, do you think it's right? Yes, no, don't care. I was reading a lot of stuff, people saying like people like Roman Polanski have never been banned for that long.
No, but Roman Polanski's never going to come back into the United States. It's like it's kind of a done deal. I mean, Roman isn't going to, that's not, yeah. I mean, if they want to, it's not like he can't go to the Cannes Film Festival. It's not like he won't find some work, abroad. I'm sure he'll be working again. And I have a feeling a lot of things are going to change for Mr. Smith in a way. And also, I think that it can always change. It doesn't have to be the full 10 years. It can change. I mean, I think we get into this place of like
10 years.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think that it will change. And I think that people prove themselves differently as time goes on. And that's that. But it would be a damn shame if they held to it and we never got Donald Trump, which we never which we never are going to. Like, I've actually come to the conclusion, and I've actually resigned myself comfortably, that nothing's going to happen with that, and that Merrick Garland is just weighing his options and trying to consider, like, the man is old. If he dies, then all of it will be done off of his watch.
We can actually go a little bit deeper on this because that was not one of our topics tonight. But I was listening to an NPR story this week about the two, I guess, lawyers in the New York investigation that resigned.
Pomerantz and
are very critical of the gentleman who's leading the probe now.
Right.
And the guy who's leading the probe say, "Oh yeah, we're still investigating. We're still investigating." And I'm going, "No,
they're not. Yeah. They're not. No."
It's not happening.
We have never had a president indicted or thrown to the wolves or put in jail or ever, as if having that egg on the face of America's, is worse than what we already went through. That's the criminal thing. And in history, we'll judge it very harshly. History and the new kids and people coming, they will look at this and, for them not holding any leaders accountable, I really do believe it will one day not manifest greatly. They're sending a really horrible message.
Well, and it's interesting too. So another thing that's unique about today, we're missing Aisha. We're also broadcasting for the first time on LinkedIn.
Are we?
Yes, we're broadcasting live on my LinkedIn page today. So.
I don't even know how this stuff goes. I have a hard time, and I don't even go on LinkedIn all that much my own self anymore. Might have to.
Well, I just, you being a music industry icon, you know how important it is of of content.
True.
So that was really, really, really important. So I just added on, and that was fun. What anything of interest go on this week? Any wins?
Any what?
Did you have any wins this week? Anything that like you went, yes?
No, not really. I mean, for me, I think the one thing that I really found interesting this whole week that I don't even know if it's a win for all of us as just people. I think that we need to talk about this social capital. I think that I have a friend who's a researcher, a librarian, and the big hot issues for them right now are social capital. And
what does that mean?
Well, it's about information being fed to you, how you're getting it, and is it the correct information, and who is going to own it. Right now, the best job you could have is to be a copyright attorney or a patent attorney, because there's so many patents and copyrights going on at the moment globally. Because really the winners of what's happening in the future are going to be publishers and content. And And that really can go into some funky areas with our free speech. It can come into where you're working at your university and doing your thesis, and you cite and reference a couple of documents or studies. And this intellectual property stuff is really evolving into some really dangerous
yeah, it's
and
very
really worrisome. I mean, I don't know if
interesting.
people will be able to talk online without being sued
Well, you know, and it's
in the
interesting.
future.
That's a really good point, because one of the many things I'm doing these days is I'm providing mentorship for entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple that I'm mentoring here, and they how can I say, create content and present D&I programs to different organizations in the music industry in Canada.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And they came to me, and I said to them, well, okay, who owns your property? And they go, us. I said, do you have it copyrighted? No. So I introduced them to actually fascinating lady. This lady who is a lawyer. She specializes with BIPOC entrepreneurs.
Oh, interesting.
First year of her practice, she made over 6 figures,
Right.
while raising 3 kids as a single mother and overcoming cancer.
Oh my God. Wow. She's pretty stealthy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And just even a few weeks ago, I was providing some mentorship for a lady who has a physical disability, whose access disability, I like to say it. And she got a contract with Bell Canada, which is one of the biggest communication companies in Canada,
Right.
to create content for accessibility employees. And I said,
Wow.
okay, which is huge. But then I asked her, okay, all this content you're creating, who's going to own it? She goes, Bell.
Yeah.
I said, what you need to do is create your own program, get it copyrighted, so you can present it to different organizations, and it's your program.
Absolutely. As these platforms even evolve, that's where the fighting is starting as well, because if you're putting it on platforms, or how is the platform using it? A lot of people don't read when they sign up for all of the usage of these platforms. And, you know, it's kind of like when you're working at a corporation, if you really look at some of the things that you're signing. I remember when I was doing the corporate gig and that world. And if I spent time working on writing or writing an article, I had to make sure I wasn't on company time at all, even during my lunch break. You know what I mean? Even just sitting in one of the rooms, just kind of going off, because technically they would own it. And I know it's just what we haven't had to experience where people are enforcing it, but they could.
Well, so, and Jill, if you're comfortable, you know, again, I regard you as a music icon. This subject, this subject, definitely in the entertainment industry. Like
Totally.
when you were starting off in the industry, how much knowledge did you have of this, or how much were you exposed? And I hope you didn't get bitten in the wrong way.
I got bitten in the wrong way.
Ouch.
Still getting bitten in the wrong way, because
no.
the industry keeps evolving. It never stays really the same. But you know what it's always been about is someone owning your content, your likeness, your all of that. And that's the interesting thing. Now, what I'm loving, believe it or not, are these little robots or all of these things. But don't ever think that you can't use a different face or something, because they even cover that inside your contracts. It's like in Prince's contract with me, which was funny because he didn't have this in his contract. That's why he was able to walk around and say he was a slave, because he made sure that his contract didn't have like any likeness, bearing, whatever, or the name change thing. Prince made sure it was in everybody else's contract, because I think he always knew that he would use that as an out.
Right.
And then later on, Warner's and everybody kind of got hip to people changing their names, and also changing your name to a symbol and attaching yourself as a brand and all of those things. I mean, he kind of toyed with that element. How enforceable that was going to be, clearly clearly he didn't have much of a leg to stand completely on it, because he definitely had to give Caesar what Caesar was owed. Ultimately, it just created a lot of it didn't get him out of the problem that was his problem, is what I'm saying.
So
It just allowed people to know that he was having a problem.
Jill, did you see that Jack White is releasing an album, Camille, by Prince?
Yes, I did see that. And, I love Jack White. I think I love his work. I mean, the thing for me, that one thing when you ask about my mom and about what I knew coming into this, my family having the experience with the Gordy thing, I still didn't know enough about it, how things really churned away and how they got going. But I can say that that my mom was always very cautious about vanity labels, artist vanity labels, that they weren't really to be taken all that seriously. Because you remember, the Beatles even had a vanity. They had Apple Records and what came from there. And most vanity labels were always created with creating different tax diversions and write-offs for
loopholes.
The artist. And I think, Prince ended up having that, and that actually was more advantageous to him, but not necessarily. But I hope that, they do well with the thing with Jack White, and I hope it's legitimate. But what I do like about the aspect with Jack White, and then there's that actor who was in the Green Book.
So Green Eyes also sings
He started a publishing company. So some people know that it is publishing. That's where the way to go.
So Green Eyes sing, supposedly the Hairs have okayed it. So for people who are watching here, we're just, myself and Joe, just chopping up Aisha. Unfortunately, she had a tooth pulled today, so she can't make it tonight. So we're just chopping up for a little bit. If you have any questions for you, it's like an open mic, like continuing. Actually, the second most popular episode right now on my YouTube is the Ask Us Anything that we did last week. Right. So everything. And one other thing too, Jill, Christy, who provided great questions for us. She has mailed you some books.
I know. Thank you for that, for letting her know. And yes. I'm sure she saw the show, and then she contacted me. We've been in touch.
So here we go. Tamara saying, I'm not clear. You wrote wonderful music. Was it difficult for you to maintain ownership of those songs?
Yes. It starts from the minute you go in to do a demo with anyone. You can have an idea of a song, but the minute you step foot into someone else's studio, they basically own the masters.
Wow.
So unless you are paying them straight up, straight out. So my advice is always have that conversation. It's difficult. It's sort of like asking somebody what their health, like right before you are sleeping with people. It's as serious as that. Wow. It is as serious as like, what is, you have to vet that. You have to know. And a lot of times as women, I think, we're very, it's very interesting because you can get a lot of people to offer you to come in, flirting, dating, whatever. You'll always meet a musician who has a studio. But it's really dangerous with that, because what happens is you're using the studio, but the minute you fall out or fight or whatever, then people, and if you get any interest in anything, forget about it. You have some problems maintaining everything about your songs. Also, what labels are doing now, which is really crazy, is you can sign with a label and then they'll send people, their artists, especially with these girls who are doing pop music. It's actually really kind of sad, because they're not necessarily they'll send you out to work with people. You get to write the song. You're getting billed for it back into your stuff. Now, these people are getting the benefit of writing with you, that they know they're writing with an artist who it's going to come out on their label, or on a label. So the pricing is different. That whole stuff is really kind of shoddy, because it's like you're just getting hired help who's in the back pocket of a label or your manager, and your friend. Even if you get your friends and pull them in on it and go, hey, you'll make some money writing. They'll pay you. They'll pay your studio. Just know that your friends, rather than their $500 a day rate, will charge $500 an hour to the label. As soon as they know you've gotten a deal. Like all tables turn. So it's very, very different once business gets involved. And when you start bringing other people into your mix, into your lifestyle, into writing with you, your friends or whatever, just know that, and especially if it's your first endeavor, just know many people will climb on your ass to get over to the next place. So they may not have an allegiance to you. It's very hard to find people who will be loyal to you because their main objective is to develop social capital with who? A label, so that the label will remember them next time your album bombs. They will call up your friend Timmy and say, Timmy, can you do this? And we've got an artist that we're developing and we'll pay you $500 an hour. So,
I love
and it'll get billed back to the artist.
You know what I love about this? It's like, I love this. Like, it's like Jill's giving a lecture because I see the pen in her hand. It's like she's giving a lecture. I love it. But no, this is fantastic.
Long time coming.
Yeah, but this is and I'm gonna start pushing you on this.
Yeah.
Really and truly, because Jill, you have such incredible knowledge. You have an evaluated experience, and I know who you're fighting for.
The good guy and the real people. Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to, and if I have to help you with this, because there's so many, because you are loved by so many and your evaluated experience, that's your marketing right there. Your evaluated experience is huge. And you know that.
Right.
You're shy.
I would like to figure out how to tailor that, but it's really true. Coming out to speak about ways to, I'm
going to say it right here. Do you know how many young women would listen to you? You have so much credibility, and plus you don't play.
No. And I'm not, and considering I think that the business is, and right now what's really frightening is that it's being ran by Apple executives. Apple kids who grew up listening to the worst music in college, or American Apple and some English ones. And I got to say that there's some real craziness going on in that world, because they're not looking at the music. And the Spotify executives, oh my God. I mean, it's absolutely frightening. Because I watched this amazing documentary the other day about Patsy Cline and a lot of different country singers. And the same shit went on back then too, with really bad labels. And Patsy Cline didn't want to sing pop music. And then she had a bad label, and what they tried to do with her. And these women are heroes to me. They're legends. Loretta Lynn, forget about it. Forget about it. These women, they did some amazing things in music and broke down a lot of barriers. And who's still in place and producing? Men, for the most part. Men are still there. We got to really tear this stuff down. Really do.
So just
who's at the programmers? Men. And if they have women, they're women who are underfoot. Very different.
So just for a reset here for people who are watching, regularly scheduled on Saturday nights at 9 p.m. we have State of Things with Aisha and Jill. Aisha is not available tonight because her tooth is hurting after an extraction today. So Jill and I are just chopping up, and really just Jill giving a masterclass. Really, that's what's happening right now. And those who are not familiar with Jill, one of the many accolades music-wise, a member of Prince's entourage for 10 years. Also was part of a collaboration that got a Grammy Award nomination.
Yeah, I don't know what ultimately happened with that. Probably, I don't know. It was up for it. Didn't ultimately make the cut.
So also want to say hello to Marlon Steven, who has a lot of music industry experience from Vibe magazine days from Toronto.
Wow.
Yeah, so Marlon, if you have anything you'd like to add. Yeah. So Green Island says, so I wish you'd write a book to set a lot of things straight. I wish a book would be done about Vanity Denise Matthews. I'm a fan since
I was going to write a book. Here's another thing with signing agreements,
Yep. It says
I'm a fan. The writer just goes ghost.
Yep. I'm a fan since 1978. The whole music industry and sound was changed by you guys. Yes. Good night, Marlon. Great stuff. Green Eye saying you are an important part of musical history. Bravo, Jill.
Thank you.
Tamara saying Jill needs to do a masterclass for sure. Family, I'm gonna just keep on reminding her, and I'm gonna help her with that if she needs to do that.
Yeah,
And
that would
then,
be great.
yeah, Tamara. So isn't it better with quote independent unquote labels? I mean, it seems like artists had more control ownership when they sold cassette tapes out of the trunks of their cars.
They did, and they don't have. There is no such thing as an independent label, because an independent label is never really independent. If it is independent, then it's out of your car or your trunk. Most of these independents are just under an umbrella of Universal or Sony or whoever. There's only four. There's only four.
Yeah,
and they all get some kind of money somehow.
So, because like
they're getting funded. It for me, I think it would make more sense for artists to. There was a point where artists were getting crowdfunding from their fans and different people, but they're all in bed together. They've got 55 writers on one song. Then you've got programmers from radios. That it's not holistic like the days when, what did they say, when Elvis Presley came along and he had done a song, which I forget it right now, but it was a cover of a old gospel song, and then it came out and it got picked up because his manager Sam was like pushing and pushing and pushing it. Those things don't happen anymore. They're already like if they know it's Dua Lipa, they've already scoped out what she's going to make pretty much. There's no real big surprise. They know what her debts are going to be. They know what the ledger is. They know how, if they'll recoup, if they won't, if she does this, they're asking for part of these people's. They're just props. And after her, then they get rid of her when that model doesn't work. And they bring in Olivia Rodrigo and slide her into the same model. It doesn't change. It's so fucking boring. And it's just like, I hate to be that really crass about it, but I don't know why people can't see it and just stop it. It's like, and the trafficking of young women's talent is disgusting, and it needs to stop, because on one hand, we're out here trying to Me Too every bloody body, but then sucking it up on the fucking Grammys, which is like, my God, you've just interchanged Taylor Swift for lesser and lesser and lesser. First of all, Taylor Swift writes her own music. They are making sure that pretty soon all they really will be doing is sliding in little robots. They do not want women who think, or who can. You want a real influencer? A real woman who's an influencer is a woman who can write her own lyrics and write her own music. That's an influencer, because they're going to influence what they feel, what they process. You want a real influencer? It's a director of a movie that's her process. It's not a little prop girl. And I say this as a woman who rejected being a little prop girl. I hated that stuff. And if it was anything where I had my locked horns with a certain someone, it was over stuff like that, because I have a brain. And the world has to see women the way we are, not the way men want us to be. And they keep crafting these imageries and this image. And there are some women who play right into it. But the time's got to stop. It has to. We will never. Look at what they're doing in these states. They just arrested a woman down in freaking Texas for having an abortion. People want a death penalty on a 26-year-old.
Marlon is just chiming in right now. Unfortunately, the music and entertainment industry at large has always been corrupt. Different factions of organized crime had always used the industry as an efficient laundromat.
Yeah, now we just have it where organized crime is running our countries. And they scaled up and organized crime, and they're in the real estate business and banking industry and legal, judicial. So yeah, they finally got what they wanted.
Jill, I'd love, so my mind is always turning with opportunities, thinking of opportunities. What would you think if we did just a round table with some of your fellow comrades or fellow friends talking about women and music, past, present, and future?
Oh, that would be great. I'm sure I could round up a few.
I would love to do that.
Definitely.
I would love to do that. Women in music, past, present, and future. I would really. So that's two things I'm going to hold you to: masterclass and this roundtable. I'd love. Oh, and you know what? I'd almost think if you get enough people, we could do like a series.
I would love that. That
Because
would be
I have
amazing.
a feeling you would probably know enough ladies that we
I
could.
do. I mean, I do. I think that um, it's just time to keep that movement going, um, and to really focus on providing, support for those wings of so much talent out there. I hate to see everybody prostituting themselves. You know, there was a time we had to do all of that and wear no clothes and do all of that stuff to get attention. But it breaks my heart that women are to have to do it today.
So Marlon Stevens saying very true, preach. So you got another fan here. Tamara saying, so as a singer
I
songwriter.
stood on the street corner so these girls didn't have to.
There you go. There you
And
go.
they should. That's just how it goes. There were many of us before.
So
And
Tamara saying, so as a singer songwriter, has all of this turned you off of creating music? I mean, you sing all types of music, all styles. Will you ever create again, or are you just done with it all? Good question.
I'm done with it all.
Wow.
Not interested in it.
Wow. Seriously.
Seriously. I'm not interested in, for the most part, the people. And we're talking about people who are boomers, my fellow colleagues and peers. I don't really like who they became. And a lot of them are pretty gross. I mean, they're rich, they've made their money, they're in the whatever. They scaled their way up. God bless them.
So
But
Tamara
they destroyed music.
Tamara saying,
They
dang.
destroyed it.
Saying, dang. And
Yeah.
Marlon saying, imagine that 45 hasn't been criminally held responsible for anything and he is regularly confessing his culpability.
Exactly. Exactly. That is where we are. We are at that point of all institutions are being revealed for what they are. And it's time to look at the great Oz behind the curtain on all of them. You know, had I known, I wouldn't have been so spooked by all of it.
My Green Eyed saying Mariah Carey is one of them, a true singer songwriter.
She's
mixed
another
about.
one.
I'm mixed about her, to be honest. I'm. But
her contribution was, one that was are you mixed about it because she had help by marrying Tommy Mottola?
That's part of it. But I guess I'm always for the underdog. And I remember when she was really big, people thought, oh, she's the greatest singer. And I said,
right.
I know singers are better than her.
Right.
I don't see like they always talk about her high vocal range.
Right.
So if people think she can hit high notes, I had the lady's name in my mind and I forgot her name. There is
Leontine Price.
No, she's a jazz singer. It's gonna bug me.
Well, Minnie Riperton could hit.
Well, that's another thing too. It's gonna bug me. I gotta. You know what?
Well, they did kind of make that very Carnival-esque about hitting notes when it really wasn't necessary in some of the songs. It just became a little carny. But that being said, there were songs where it really added to the value of the song. But she also had a great Craig Kallman who wrote some of the earlier songs with her.
Okay.
He was a hell of a songwriter. You know, he had big beat records and he was a great songwriter.
So Tamara, I'm not thinking about Shanti Moore, but Shanti Moore, incredible singer. She
sang backing vocals on one of my songs once.
You're kidding.
Yeah, she was, I think, going out with Jay King, and he brought her in to sing on something. We were trying to finish one of my songs, and she sang backing vocals. See, that's the other thing. Sadly, and I hate to say it, women had to date people, and you have to date these monsters, these creatures, in order to have anybody pay any attention. There's tons of female singers and musicians out there. I got to say it. But yeah, to say that we weren't having to date people or being put in the position where we didn't want to, but you don't want to offend anybody. There's many stories like that too. I mean, forgive me, Shantae, if you weren't really dating him and you were just being put into a position. I don't know. You know, these men always present themselves as, oh, you know, they're doing you such a favor, but they really.
So, Tamara, thank you for mentioning Shantae Moore, because one of the massive concerts I saw in my day was Shantae Moore opening up for Barry White.
Oh, wow. I love Barry White.
And Shantae Moore, she's one of these ladies that I met in my life. Ladies are always looking good and fine on a video. She looked better in real life than she did on a video.
Yeah, she's a pretty woman.
Ooh, beautiful. Wow. Like when I met her, I couldn't get the words out for the first 30 seconds. She goes, "Are you okay?" I said, "No, not really." but
you could say that where the travesty started to come into the music business, when they started, and maybe it happened a little bit before, but when I remember when the whole marketing machines came, when Vanessa Williams came off of her situation.
Actually, you know, that's really crazy you mentioned that. I actually have a picture somewhere of myself and Vanessa Williams from back in the day. It's a black and white picture too.
Right.
But another wonderful.
But it was like they knew they could get the ratings, they could get the ticket, the eyes on that project because of the simple fact of what had just come out with Playboy. So there were those nuances that started to happen in the music industry, and the more exploitation of women, because
you know what's crazy?
There's unfortunate.
Lots of people are watching this live right now, so this is good. We're just chopping it up. And so again, for those people who are used to seeing the things, Aisha and Jill, she's not with us tonight. Toothache from a tooth pulled today, so she's not feeling well. So Jill and I are just chopping up, talking about music and other things. The other good thing about the Barry White and Shantae Moore concert, Shantae Moore was amazing. Barry White was with a full orchestra.
Oh, he was phenomenal.
Like, and people have to, he doesn't get enough grace because he wrote the music, he sung the music, he did it all.
My sister was very close with Glodine, I think his wife, and they had a daughter, I think, who used to always be over at Iris's house.
Okay, we're doing some music trivia here. So Green Eyed again. I don't like her attitude, but she's talented. Mary J. Blige, Alice Smith, Heather Headley, Go Pele, etc.
Guapale.
Mary J. Blige. I give her what she has made herself out to, because
phenomenal.
I never thought she was a good singer. She's just not
phenomenal.
But she, you know what? In a different way, she's become the Renaissance lady of hip hop.
She carved out a space for herself that not only carved out a space for Black women, she carved out a space to be represented, and for those women to vicariously be represented through her.
Actually, two ladies who have become brands on their own: Mary J. Blige and, oh my God, Queen Latifah.
True. Yeah.
Latifah starting on The Equalizer.
Yeah.
On TV. And she's done so many roles. Didn't she not have her own talk show for a while too?
I think she did.
So both those ladies have just really branded themselves to the nth degree. I know that, but is Mary J. Blige on that show called Power? I think.
I heard about that show. It was
it's still on.
50 Cent show.
It's still 50 Cent is probably the producer and people
because my Aunt Bernie loves that show. That is her show.
I know.
And,
the people I know who love that show.
Go there and have her miss her show.
The people I know who like that show are they're like Apple users. Nothing comes in between that brand.
Oh, yeah.
They're hardcore. Let's see who else. Okay, we got absolutely Jill. Hey, Christy, we're looking forward to the books. Thanks for sending them. Congratulations on your award. Huge congratulations on your award.
Very, very big win. Congratulations.
Wigmaniac saying, heard a rumor that J-Lo had a Milli Vanilli thing going on a good bunch of her records. Someone sang for her. I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I wouldn't doubt it either. I mean, and now looking back, but that was the other aspect that was kind of going in this business where, there was the carnival-esque crowd happening on, oh, we have good-looking people, let's make it happen. I mean, they've been doing it a little bit in the 70s and, but they found a way with MTV, with the visuals and all that to make that happen.
So Jill Scott also, absolutely. Jill Scott, and I think she just had her 50th birthday. I believe.
Oh, wow. Good for her.
Just had her 50th birthday.
Is she still a Jehovah's Witness too?
I think so. Okay. So Marlon Stevens bringing in the hip hop element. Flavor Unit has always been a force in the industry. Yes. And also he says Latifah's business acumen is unparalleled. Will Smith's Overbrook produced it. Oh, produced what? Produced The Equalizer? Marlon, you would know. Marlon has deep knowledge on the entertainment industry, big time deep knowledge. So Marlon, that would be interesting. So people, you don't think Will's not making money?
I don't want him to not make any money, and I don't. This is somebody who we're definitely not going to cancel to the point where it kills opportunities for other people within our ethnic culture.
Okay, so you're saying that Will Smith produced Queen Latifah's talk show.
Oh, okay.
He produced the talk show, so there you go again. And Christy saying, "Thank you, excited to see the stuff Jill's got coming up." Well, we're working on Jill
Thanks
to get
to Dr. Vibe. He wants me to do it.
Yeah,
I think it could be good.
No, yeah. I definitely think that having a women in music, there's a type of past, present, and future. There you go.
I mean, my master class about the music business is definitely, kind of like it will end in tears. I mean, I had one of the best attorneys in the world, Don Passman, and just and Don wrote Everything You Wanted to Know About Business, which is one of the biggest selling books about the music industry.
You're kidding.
Yeah, he was mine. And I've looked in those pages and been like, that's my story. That's my, yeah. Because I was one of those artists. He told me not to sign my deal. He said, I am not comfortable with you signing this, even at the end of all the negotiations. So, sometimes you get those people who are honest and they'll really put you on the line, but you want your opportunity or your take so badly, but everything he said did come to pass. He was so right. And I probably should have listened to him, but then I wouldn't be here having this discussion.
So Christy likes the title for the series. So Christy, yes, I'm going to be working to see that happen. I really think that'd be a great series. I think it'd be huge, and I'm sure it could be an ongoing series. How different, maybe quarterly conversations with. Oh, and Londell McMillan is one of the worst wolves in sheep clothing.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Water seeks its own level. It's a really dark business. It's a sewer. What do you expect? There's no rose petals in there. You got to be prepared to get dirty when you go into the music business.
Oh, Marlon goes in our community, and if you see this, and Marlon, we may need to. If you coming on, you should come on a Saturday night with Aisha and Jill. You go in our community and in the music industry. Yep,
absolutely.
Yep, absolutely.
It's getting dirtier.
It's not getting any better.
No, it's not for the faint. The weak of heart. But here's the other thing. This whole thing with social capital coming along, where you're based upon your viability as who you can influence, who you can make do X, Y, and Z, that brings it an even more nefarious kind of twist to how low this thing could possibly go, because therefore it has nothing to do with talent whatsoever. It has to do with more. I remember when Madonna came out, everybody was like praising this whole marketing acumen and, oh my God, she's a marketer. But to another degree, it's like, okay, all right. But then everybody decided they were going to market themselves. Then everybody had a brand. And then they kill it. Then they totally kill it.
Well,
totally kill it.
Well, with Madonna, whoever was behind that marketing machine, she was, excuse me, proof of you can make anything good, even if it isn't. She mastered bad publicity. She
Oh, she had a
mastered.
great publicist though, Liz, whatever her name was. That woman was amazing. Um, and there was a hunger, to what she wanted and a killer instinct. And I think you have to have that. But you don't get that until you've been roughed up a bit. You don't get a
True.
killer instinct until, sadly, that's the irony of it all, until you've been kicked around a little bit.
You want to hear a crazy trivia note? I saw, here we go, Liz Rosenberg.
That's
is
it.
the name of the person.
That's who it was. Killer.
I, in the same night, saw Regina Bell at a concert venue and Madonna at a concert venue. It's two separate venues in the same night.
Okay. What was happening there?
No, I was able to go to both. What two totally different concerts.
But you've got to also look at this. Madonna was a white woman, and they were going to make that happen. They, in the height of all of it, in the 80s, there were so many carbon copies, things going on like that. I mean, hell, that's just how it was. But she had the song. She knew how to find that. She networked, seriously, legitimately, went out with people, dated them, dated a DJ, Jelly Bean Benitez.
Oh gosh, haven't heard that name in years.
Yeah, whoa. I mean, it's like
one of the great. Man, there was a time that any pop remix, Jelly Bean Benitez.
Yeah, but here's the craziest thing of all. Women are still having to do this. And I don't think that 20 years later, that's much evolution, 30 years later. I mean, women should not have to be cozying up, with the singers and the writers and the this and giving them this and that, and have a top line writer come in and 50, there are other things, or giving away all of their credits or their writing. Women have to have their own studios. They have to, get money and ownership.
That's what it really gets.
They need to have it. They need to be recording, and then they need to also pay the money for those demos and say, see you later, bye, get stuff in writing and go, see you later. That's how it goes. None of this, because you want it so badly and you're in there, and then I'll give you a percentage of the song.
No, it's not.
Because I'm telling you, they come back like, asking for things, or hit you on the backside, and you find out like, oh my God, they want a production credit. So these are really, you have to be taken seriously, but you got to take yourself seriously first.
Yep. Tamara's going, just curious, if you wanted to go perform at a club somewhere, could you? Are you restricted from doing that? Where can we get good music? It's definitely not coming from the radio. So sad.
I'm not restricted, but most artists are restricted. You can't, that's the other rig that's been rigged now, with people who are trying to do gigs in these, anywhere. You see, they even have these caveats. It's not like the old days of, I want the door, and you take the bar, or the bar and the door. Yeah. They're very different, because a lot of times, even in the smaller places that get the most activity, Live Nation has something to do with a lot of them. There's a promoter thing. There's a whole different kind of chain, and it's still the same bullshit, and maybe worse than ever. It's not that easy doing gigs like that anymore at all. They found a way to come in and make the owners of these venues accountable for a lot of different things. So they've been squeezed too.
Wow.
Yeah, they really did some damage. They knew where to go in and disrupt it all.
What an industry.
I mean, it was nice that, you have a situation where Prince was trying to talk to people about what was really happening. But even he didn't know, because he was on a different level. He didn't see the back alleys, the this, the that, how they were all going down this corporatocracy of, of a monopoly in a really weird way, and they can cock block anybody they want.
Puh, puh. Has there been any artists you would have wanted to perform with that you did? Is there an artist you'd like to perform with that you didn't?
No, the only person that I ever wanted to really work with in my life was Ruichi Sakamoto, and I did.
Oh, I haven't heard that name in years.
I just will always admire his talent, his gifts.
Brilliant.
And for me, that was it.
Brilliant.
That was it. Yeah.
Oh,
the only person I'm sorry I never got to meet was Fellini. That for sure. But yeah,
Ruichi Sakamoto.
maybe Serge Gainsbourg would have been interesting to do something with, but he was just
Sakamoto. I haven't heard that name in years. Okay. Tomorrow's going. So basically, we have to go back to quote garage parties, unquote.
Probably, because I do believe that if what we're looking at with all the institutions across the board collapsing, we're kind of looking at, we're all going to have to scale back down to create our own reset buttons and make our own new way of carving out lives, unless you want to owe it to the state when you're born, put a stamp on your kids and your babies and go, here's my baby. Welcome to the world of serfdom, because that's essentially what has kind of happened in a very weird way.
So before I forget, when people mention Mariah Carey, I say, if you think Mariah Carey can sing, listen to a lady named Rochelle Farrell. You want to hear a lady that can sing? Rochelle Farrell. And I'm going to, amazed, like her. I saw her many years ago. She was touring with another great singer named Will Downing. Oh,
I know who Will Downing is from the UK.
Yes.
Yeah, he's really talented.
And they toured together. And the thing is, they both did solo sets. Her set, she was doing her set, and then she basically told the band to leave. And then she started going a cappella. Mm-hmm. She put the microphone down on the ground.
Wow.
And just went to a whole other level.
But but I mean, with all due respect, those kind of singers, it's like amazing, and that is an era from. You might be the last person to enjoy stuff like that, because the reality is, you see, garbage like BTS and all that kind of stuff. No offense,
Joe, you're ahead of me. I don't listen to any of it. I'm sorry to say that,
but
folks.
For me, it's like watching. It's like when they had that. Don't you think your girl is hot like me, people, and all of that, and these girl bands, and yes, Prince had his, his girl band, but
Third Eye
everybody
Girl.
else. Well, no, it was Vanity Six and
Vanity Six. The true girl band was Vanity Six.
But the reality is that all this, how it all became so commercialized, and then they tie it into our culture, like, oh, we're all going to go out tonight. It's a girls' night. And they put it in movies, and they put it in. It's so much. It's just this propaganda. We've been given a lot of propaganda about what women are and what we do on the weekends, who we do it with, and when we drink, and when we all are sad and we're looking for boyfriends and all that. That's all indoctrinated, just been geared and pushed to us. And, because we are not writing our own music. We aren't even writing our own scripts. How do you know what women are if it's a man writing the words?
One of the things I think that started the downfall of the music industry were videos. This is just me. It's one of the things because people were telling us what a song looked like instead of we imagining it on our own what a song would look like.
That's true.
And not saying 100%, but I love live music. Live music is me, like a Rochelle Farrell, seeing Barry White live, seeing a jazz artist live, but everyone's different. But to me, that's what started, and that's what started to, for me, I started to lose it for the current music because it's so programmed, etc. Here we go. Christy has a question. Continuing from last week, Jill, who are the top three musicians you suggest a young man getting into the industry should look up and learn about? That's her son she's talking about.
I know. Let me think about that, and I'll get back to you on it because
Okay.
I really want to be really thoughtful about who I suggest
Well,
for that.
depending what type of music he's into, for me,
Mm-hmm.
if you're into like some of the old jazz players,
Mm-hmm.
I would say someone like a Miles Davis. If you're really into composition and things like that, but again, depends what he's into. Actually, the other day, um, I wonder, maybe I can look up. There's a guy named Rick Beato who has a music channel. He's been doing it for years, and he showed a live performance of is it Oscar Peterson quartet?
Yeah, I've seen Oscar Peterson live. I remember seeing him.
It's around the 1960s. The piano solo he does, like, I know the music a little bit. I went, this is ridiculous. Like what he was doing on an acoustic piano was ridiculous. It was ridiculous what I was watching.
I would say for me, the why I want to take some time because I'm trying to think of not just listening to them because you like their music, but looking at how they've been getting exposure or how they made things happen for themselves or style of writing or how they're evolving. But there is one guy that I sort of, Charlie Winston is a really interesting player. He was Peter Gabriel's Manny when he was their Manny. He used to babysit Peter Gabriel's kids when they were little.
You're kidding.
And so Charlie Winston is a British singer, songwriter. And you can see the evolution through his days. He's more like a chanteuse. He's got a really lovely voice. He can do all sorts of things. He has a lot of French characteristics, a lot of very artsy indie style. You can see where he finally, after a few years, figured out, or his label or whoever supported him finally figured out they learned how to work together and make his quirkiness sellable.
Okay.
And so I recommend him, and then I have to think about, but I do love his videos and how if you watch him, you'll see it. I think it's something that a young person might find very interesting.
So Christy says he's into everything.
Yeah,
Simma
he'll
Canella says,
appreciate it.
I wonder if BTS is still doing a Milli Vanilli. I don't even know who I heard of the band.
BTS are the Korean bands, but it's not that they're not making. When are they going to make money? They are totally exploited. They work like 20 hours a week. Seriously, that's something that we can't regulate.
Hello, Jen. Yeah, so for just doing a reset, we're just chopping it up today. We're mainly talking about music because Aisha is not able to make it. She's not feeling well. So we just said we'd hop on to keep the fire. Another great song, "Keep the Fire Burning" by Kenny Loggins, another one of my all-time favorite singers.
Song.
You know, Chrissy, good role modeling too. So I have found this video I was talking about that Rick Beato talks about, like one of the great solos of all time. And now I know if I wonder if it's going to happen on YouTube, they may block us, so you know what, but I don't care. I'm going to put it up for this live one. So let's see if we can get this up. Now, if you, I need to do a screen share. Here we do quick share screen. Okay, here we go. Tab. So this is for a gentleman named Rick Beato who has a music channel that's been going on for years, has a pile of subscribers, and it's so this is an episode saying the greatest solo of all time. So this is in his opinion one of the great solos of all time. I'm just going to see if I can enlarge my screen. Theater default full screen. All right, let's go full screen. All right, so we're going to play a bit of this for your family. And as I move around here.
Yeah, okay. It's a good tempo. And then they lay out. Four chord, one chord, five chord, four, one. Now he's just getting warmed up. changes the feel. Oh! So things like that right there, listen to the feel. Right here. Oh! Then there's a great video on how to play that lick right there called The Tastiest Oscar Peterson Blues Lick by my dear friend Amy Nolte. Amy is my oldest YouTuber friend. We've been friends for 5 years. She just hit 200,000 subscribers yesterday. So congratulations, Amy. Definitely follow her channel. She's awesome. Incredibly hard left-hand accompaniment. To improvise over that is extremely difficult because he's making up both parts. Here we go, another field change. I like a halftime. Woo! Oh! Check out the look that Barney Kessel just gave Niels when Oscar played that. That's how you know that you're playing with a great player, when you look at each other and go, man. Then, boogie woogie. So Oscar can play bebop, he can play boogie woogie, he can play stride piano. Oh! Oh man. Then he goes to walking bass line with octaves. Just to explain what a walking bass line is, normally a walking bass line, if you have a bass player, would be like but Oscar's doing it in octaves. It adds an extra layer of intensity to the solo. You can see his hand there, it's hitting the other keys. They're all moving, but they're not playing. Oh yeah, then total field change again, like a faster boogie woogie. When I say a faster boogie woogie, so a boogie woogie pattern that he's playing there is in the left hand. That's what gives it that boogie woogie feel. Then the right hand, he's doing he has that blues sound with the sharp 4 and the flat.
My grandpa used to play that.
There you go.
And then he solos over that pattern. One chord. You guys can hear the 12 bar. Top. 4 chord. 1 chord. 5 chord. 4. 1. Top. Walkie bass. I love right there how he builds intensity in the solo. On the 4 chord, he's just ripping on a 4-note F minor pentatonic pattern. Then when it goes back to the 1 chord, he adds in the 5th note and rips on the 5-note F minor pentatonic pattern. Woo! Oh! The Marcus! Now he starts to cook. I love that look of Barney.
I went to a Oscar Peterson show when I was younger.
Let me shut it down. I'll stop there. But that to me, like that is crazy. And I'm not a big musician, but I go, you have to have a gift to do that.
You do. You do. It was just so easy in those days how people played that style, but it doesn't matter if they came along and played that. Nobody cares anymore, and nobody would really appreciates it.
So Cinema Canal says, did anyone know what happened to Terrence Trent D'Arby? Wishing
He
well.
He quit music. He quit as Terrence Trent D'Arby, and he sings under a different name.
Yeah, something like Sonata.
Yeah.
Tamara saying.
Yeah. He just went off into some other kind of stuff.
Wow. Terrence
I don't know.
Oh,
I have my theories, but
wishing well. Great song. Great song. Great song. Yeah, songs like Dance Little Sister, real uptune, Sign Your Name If You Let Me Stay. Oh,
yeah, he had a great producer. I worked with his producer, Martin Ware, who was from Heaven 17, that band.
Oh, hold on. Come on. Who?
Heaven 17, and they're the ones who produced
Let Me Go.
Tina Turner.
Let Me Go. Great song.
Mm-hmm.
Let Me Go. Oh, man. Oh, heavens. What was it? Martin? Was it
Martin Ware.
Martin Ware. I was going to say Martin Ware.
Totally. Sheffield Boys from Sheffield, England.
The luxury, and they did an album called The Luxury Gap.
Yes, they did. Too. They sure did.
Oh,
yeah, great band. Great
band. Oh my, woo, woo, dun 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 dun. We gotta do this video show. We've got to do this video show. And like every few months, we got to send in your favorite videos, and we can play them. So Tamara has another. If you lived or traveled other yes, she has. Seems like places like Paris, there would be more appreciation for artists. Would you say that's true? More appreciation of artists in Paris?
Used to be. I mean, I don't know if it really exists anymore. I mean, it was a generational thing, I believe. I don't know if Gen Z really have the ears for it or the taste level. I don't know what happened with their parents. I don't know why their kids have such horrible musical taste.
So just
I don't know. I maybe too many helicopter parents. I don't know if the exploration of it's like they have this little phone. They can find music from all over the globe, and they choose to listen to the most banal, crappy stuff. But I'm not in their generation, so it's not for me. I'm just saying that it's going to be interesting because most of them don't even know how to play instruments. They didn't grow up with having band practice at school. So it's not a natural progression for them to have the need or desire to understand the inner workings of a clarinet or how a flute works, or they don't know. They can sample stuff. They don't know. You have an app that you can and put in here, and they don't even know if it's a clarinet sound or a trombone or what. They don't know. It's kind of like putting a blindfold on somebody and giving them food and go, is this chicken or beef? And they wouldn't know.
So Terrence Trent D'Arby changed his name in 2001 in October to Sonata Maitreya.
Maitreya.
Yeah. So that was in
Sananda Maitreya. That's it.
So he changed that in October.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the luxury, man, Heaven 17.
I know.
The Luxury Gap. Let Me Go.
I know.
There was, oh man. Oh, that's wow. Love it. Anyone else have any quick questions before we shut it down? I didn't think we go so long, but we just like to wrap. We're just hanging out. Heaven 17, The Luxury Gap. Wow, Let Me Go. Heaven 17. Jill, you're doing this for me. You're doing this. And Temptation and their brothers, sisters. We don't need this fascist groove thing.
Right. But, yeah. And those guys, that's the other thing I know that Tamara was talking about. These people were such intellectuals. Like if you spoke with Martin Ware or I worked with John Reynolds, who worked with Sinead and all these people, and Peter Gabriel and all of them.
Hold on.
They're smart. They're intelligent people. But nowadays, I don't know.
Ooh, I love it. Oh, wow. We'll stop this because I could go all night. Like I just like. And you know what's going to happen? Facebook is going to block us. I know they're going to block us.
I know.
That's all right.
The reason most of these outlets, they don't want to pay for what it costs, the licensing, you know.
So I'm going to shut this down.
Yeah. They don't want to pay for licensing. And that's the whole thing.
But yeah, so yeah.
Because it's all about publishing.
Look at this. So Christy's saying, unless you're taking honors program in music production at the University of Toronto, yes, my boy plays guitar, bass, and sings.
Mm-hmm.
Tamara says, I'm not giving up. I will forever try to convince you to get back in the studio. Thank you so much for answering my questions. Well, thank you for asking the questions.
Thank you.
Because you've given me creative thought to saying, okay, Jill, webinar, okay, let's do a series women in music.
Totally. I'm down for the webinar. I mean, it's just that is definitely, I guess it is something to teach everybody something. Who wants to do it? It's
and you can also I definitely think there's some value in that.
I mean, I'm the biggest cheerleader for those who still want to do it and can evoke change from the business. I'm always going to be that person, which is how I ended up being such a big supporter of someone like Prince versus Michael Jackson. Was never first on my list. I like the underdog. I like people who are doing different stuff and cutting through all the other nonsense. That's me.
So when people say, well, people already know this, but always want Prince over Michael Jackson to me any day. And the reason why I'm going to say this is that what would Prince be without Quincy Jones? I'm just going to leave it at that.
What would Michael Jackson be without
Michael Jackson.
Like Prince was fine without Quincy Jones.
Yeah, but Michael, great entertainer, etc., and all that, no problem.
But the one takeaway from Michael is to know that he knew where his weaknesses were, and he knew how to fill and fix those, and who could do that for him. He knew that time had passed. He was never going to be able to play instruments competently enough to get what he heard here into here.
Yes.
That's just how it worked out. They kept that boy busy. But I appreciate the fact that he knew his limitations and he knew what to do with that. That takes a tremendous amount of honesty, manipulation, and to be a little bit conniving as well.
Yeah. And huge respect, Michael Jackson, and rest in peace. And you know what's actually, I just thought about it. Quincy Jones and Stevie Wonder are still alive and kicking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're still
those old dogs.
They're still going strong. Like I just thought about it. And I just thought, Quincy. I would love to sit with Quincy Jones for a day and just hang out with him.
Mm-hmm.
I just say, just whatever you want to talk about, Quincy, just like tell me any story you want to tell me. I would that's living history right there.
Well, I had an interview with him for a magazine that I did, Ubiquitous.
Yeah.
I would just have to say it was great, but I also just have to say that I think that what we get when people answer a question versus what actually happened and all these in-betweens, it's the in-betweens that actually make it the most interesting, the key parts, because people so rarely are able to look at what they did in the same place as when they did it. It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
So there's going to be an inflated sense of self or deprecating sense. I tend to do a lot of more deprecation or not that I don't have any gratitude for things. I actually don't know the feeling of what, oh my God, you did this. You met Miles Davis. Meeting Miles Davis did not leave my presences. Like I remember being really thrilled with that. But for the most part, there are other things that I've done that I didn't get a chance to enjoy them because I was so hell-bent on focusing on the future that it's important to grab your moments. And I don't think I did. I was always like, oh my God, they're not going to play my single. Oh my God, I got to go be nice. I got to do this. I got to, and it's just a lot. And then you don't enjoy it.
Well, see, I had a moment like that a few years ago. So I actually know those gentleman's name, D. Chansonberry, himself, and what's the guy's name? Bald-headed gentleman. They co-produced Dark Girls, the first Dark Girls movie.
I don't know
what the guy's name. I gotta have to look this up online. But and we met back in 2011. We sort of kept in touch, and then eventually I said, hey, you should come on the show sometime. So he came on, and he shared a really interesting story about, just trying to see, I'm trying to find who produced the movie because it's bugging me. It was actually premiered at the Toronto Film Festival back in 2011. So I'm just trying to, who produced it? Bill Duke, yes.
Oh, so, Bill Duke, yeah.
So right. I had G. Chansonberry on about 2.5 years ago, and I got him to talk about Dark Girls too, because he was doing it on his own. He's an independent producer who's done about 25 documentaries. He's good friends with Oprah Winfrey, so he starts going to this story, and he says, "You know what? I never told this story before, but I got to share it with you." I said, "Okay." So we were live. He says every year, himself and Oprah Winfrey go over and celebrate Sidney Poitier's birthday with him. So it was about 2 years ago. They celebrated his birthday. Then Oprah said, "Hey, why don't you come back to my place for lunch?" She goes, "Okay." So she says, "So what are you working on? How are things going?" She says, "Well, I'm working on Dark Girls too." And she goes like, "How's it going?" She goes, "The life of an independent producer, always needing money." And he said, and she goes, "Oh yeah." She goes, "Well, Chan, how much you need?" He said the amount. She pulled out the checkbook and wrote a personal check for that amount right then and there. And he said that was the first time he ever shared that story.
I mean, that's pretty amazing. Having Oprah as a friend must be amazing.
Yeah, just pulled out the checkbook. And
she's a very special woman, though. She is. And I worry for our future. But I guess the future people who are in the roles and in the positions, maybe it's karmic and maybe they're there. But I worry who are going to be the guardians of the future, particularly for African Americans, because I don't know.
There's another conversation topic. What's the future?
I mean, look at what those bitches from Black Lives Matter just did.
What about the House?
Yeah. I mean, let's just be really straight up. They tried to pass that stuff off. Like, who tried to say, oh, they wanted to have like a rehab center or let people come who are in abusive. First of all, these houses are not in areas that are zoned for that shit. I live here. I'm telling you, I know the neighborhoods where they just bought. No. You start rolling up there with folks who are in domestic violence. No, it ain't like that. That's not how Los Angeles streets and Beverly Hills and all these places work. It's not zoned for that. And it really, they have ruined it for everyone in our community for a very long time.
There's a lot of concerns I have.
And they need to be sued and be forced to give that money back.
Well, and we're going to end off here because we could go on. That's a whole other conversation topic.
Disgusting.
But I have some concerns about that organization. One, interesting that most of the people who were the organizers of it initially are no longer there. Two, they are not transparent with their finances.
No.
That's a huge
But they
concern.
move that money to other states, which means that is wire fraud, if I'm not mistaken. You can't just take and go buy houses up and where are you going? These places aren't incorporated. See, we're at a really weird time where nothing is being enforced. But let me tell you something. For this group, they're going to enforce them like they're enforcing the ones for the insurrection. and maybe more so on the BLM.
Yeah, isn't California is like investigating them?
They better, because are you joking? I mean, that's absolutely, they did a property change in a matter of 4 days in one instance here.
I have some concerns.
Helicopter pad and all this other stuff. I mean, give me a break.
But here's the thing. They were quite active during the election. I don't hear anything now.
Because they've been buying houses for themselves and their family and friends.
Well,
you wouldn't be active either, right?
I just say, I'd like to see.
And they ended up getting it where everybody wanted to defund the police. And we ended up with Gascon or whatever that, I keep calling him Gascon. Okay. So he's got to go.
Well, but here's another thing too.
Garcon or whatever the hell his name is.
I just putting it out there. People have come to me saying, you know what? Yes, people are saying the people are saying defund the police. But the thing is, what's happened now is a lot of good people don't want to be policemen anymore. And now the people that are becoming policemen are these right-wing activists because they got to take somebody.
Absolutely.
And this is why one of the reasons why people in the end of the day, policing may be worse than it was before. Maybe.
Oh, well, people are telling me. But who can risk not having them? They did it to themselves. And I'm singing you did it to yourself. It's true. That's what really hurts. That's Radiohead.
Yeah.
The reality is
spending the money. Tamara's going, Black Lives Matter is spending the church's money, LOL. And then Quincy says, sounds like the shirt actually having. Yeah, I think we got to talk about that BLM thing because there's a lot to be chatted about. There were
people who went out there and protested, lost eyes, lost limbs, all in the name of this BLM. And they really, we're talking all races were out there.
Yep.
And this is disgusting, and it is a blight on our Black community. And I'm sorry, it's inexcusable. And there's nothing else you can say. They haven't done shit. They should have taken their money and sent out checks to everybody individually who was going through different things during COVID or didn't have money or help get homeless off the street. But did they? No, they haven't. And it's disgusting, and they need to have the money. They need to be forced to return the donations because I'm waiting on my money to be returned. So thank you very much.
And on that note, we're going to end it up now. So as always, if you want to get a hold of Jill, there she is on Twitter, Jill D. Jones. Jill, thanks for taking the time. And you know what? I got to hail up somebody.
Who?
Your dear husband.
Oh, why?
Because I know that you have a wonderful relationship, and taking time away from your wonderful relationship, I don't take it for granted, and it's appreciated. I think that's from all of us who are watching live on replay, past and present. So we send a hug to him.
Oh, thank you very much. I will let him know.
Yes, tell him we appreciate him.
Okay, I will let him know.
But let him know that he married up. Okay.
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 Yes.
And you can catch replays of State of Things on my YouTube channel, Facebook channel, the website.
Oh, I just want to say one quick thing. I forgot. Sure. I'm going to be at Paisley Park is having an event.
What?
This year, June 3rd. I think I'm going to be doing a panel with Maite Garcia, Carmen Electra, Brown Mark from the Revolution, Randy St. Nicholas, photographer, and somebody else. Forgive me for forgetting
is this a private event?
No, it's the event that they do every year, a celebration of Paisley Park and all the wonderful accomplishments of Prince. People go and they spend a whole week and weekend there.
Wow.
Going all over Minneapolis. There's a lot of people singing and doing shows from his entourage and past and different people. So every year, I guess they didn't do anything last year because of COVID or the year before. So this year I was invited to participate and I decided.
Overdue.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thanks. So
That's
it should be fun.
huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. So as we say,
Yeah. So I know I put up a flyer on my Instagram at Jill Jones Music.
thank you.
So then you can see who all is
Nice.
in the show. That there's plenty of other DJ Rashida, DJ Spinna, and more.
Oh
they
wow,
say.
DJ
And Tom
Spinna. Hold on,
and
DJ
Tom
Spinna.
Garneau. Uh-huh.
I'm a huge fan of his.
Yeah. So
Yes, he did. He's done one of my all-time favorite remixes. He did a remix of a Stevie Wonder song called "Love." My Love Is on Fire. Oh my goodness, that remix.
oh wow.
Oh, that makes my hair stand up on end. That is like wow. I love what he redid for that song. Totally different.
Oh, okay.
Totally. I have to send you the link. It's an amazing.
Yes, I'm not familiar
amazing.
with
My Love Is on
absolutely
Fire,
everything.
Stevie Wonder remix. Oh, DJ Spinna, that is amazing. So, folks, I got two last comments. We're gonna jump off here. Good to see you both on here tonight.
Yes,
Thank
Christy's
you,
going to send me
Jen.
some beaded bling to wear, which I'm excited.
All right, and yay, that's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna send some of her oh, Jill's raising her fashion game.
I know. Well, you know, I started trying to work out again because
how's that going?
It's going, but it's going to be a little bit because, you know, I recently found out I have Hashimoto's, which is the thyroid condition.
Oh, no.
So that's kind of like tricky. And that's been like, and my cholesterol has been really high. So, you know, everybody knows that I didn't have my test. So this year I went, and the hardest part is like just changing over really, you know, food and cooking for me. It is a form of entertainment and family and all that. And now just seeing it in a very different light for a minute. Yeah, it's totally a big transition for me. And the walking, now I have to do more of it, more running, more tennis.
Yeah, I got my watch on. You got it. All right. Well, family, thanks again for all your support. Have Aisha in your prayers for her recovery.
Yes.
Cinema's going. Jill, keep us posted while you're in Minnesota.
I will. I will. That I will do.
Absolutely. Sure. We need to know as much as we can about that.
Oh, well, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'll figure out a way to.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That would be fun. So as always, what we say here, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace. And again, follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook or on YouTube to be notified when we're going to be on next. It could be tomorrow night. I don't know how Aisha's feeling, but I don't know if Jill's going to be available. But just follow it again. And and thank you again for all your support. It is appreciated, not taken for granted. And check out the replays. I'm telling you, especially the Will Slap one. That's fire. That is fire. Fire. So, and last two things, remember to give yourself grace. And finally, it's important to manage your time, but it's more important to manage your energy. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith. Walk good. See you soon, everybody. Keep safe.